Austin is bringing a very good point.
Yeah.
You see, in my opening remarks, I said the system, family system, community system. These are the things that are propagating or supporting the deviant behaviors of
it fuels this.
Because one thing is this: many of our parents, it's just like he said, like when you become stern, you become serious with the person who is doing the wrong thing. I think there's a tendency of being lenient to this is my relative, but eventually, this person will always get into trouble. And this is where we need to ask ourselves, even for these families who are doing this, who are propagating this, how best, you see? Because you see, my thinking is different. My thinking is that could it be a point that this mother, who could be a widow, who is siding with a boy who is doing the wrong thing, could it be that the boy is the only source of survival, bringing something to this family?
Table.
And so they're thinking, if you take away this, I'm going. So I'm thinking like this. There's twofold. The community wants to discipline the boy, but we are not really getting to understand why the boy is doing this. And even is there any community support to say, we are doing this. If you have a challenge, we as the community,
come do this.
We can also support you in a way. But most importantly, we have to correct this boy. Because if you take away the only person who's bringing me something, and nobody is working in this family,
how am I going to survive?
I will support them. But if we can have a support
so
system,
regardless of the way of the boy supporting the family through crimes, it is fine with the family.
Yeah, this is what is happening. What else do you think that
I think Dilo.
Let me now bring the question. I think we're talking about the poverty now. Within the family.
Yes, exactly.
Is poverty pushing young people into crimes?
I think so. For 90%, for 90%, maybe the 5% are those who have been recruited to do crime, even when they have a good family. Because when a habit is formed, it's difficult to break, unless, of course, there's some efforts. But if you look at the boys, the young boys and girls who are doing this, they are coming from very good poor families.
Some of the poor families.
Where the families sell water, to make a living for a day. And imagine that sometimes in the camp, let's be honest, water will be scarce. And for people who have money can go and buy water. And what about this family who are making their daily living by taking 5 jerrycans of water, sell them to hotels, and then buy something for, this is very challenging, right? I am not in any way saying that crime is good, but I'm also saying that in as much as we need to think of a way of really addressing the root cause of what is happening.
When you see the setup of the camp and the system that is being into the camp right now, thing to do with food security is now becoming a bigger challenge. Some families go 2 to 3 days without having a meal. You see? Another thing
where
is
are they
also,
eating from?
That is it. That is where crime come in. If I stay in the compound for 3 days, I have nothing to eat. I'll be forced to go out, steal, in order to get something to eat. You see, that is where the cycle comes in. Let's talk of the camp. Camp depends on the ration that is being distributed, right? That is given by WFP. And you see the size of food that is given in the last month. It's really, 2 kgs or 3 cups of, they are all given sorghum
for 15
and rice. Not 15, it is 30 days. 30 days. How is someone surviving? No lentils, no oil. You only have 2 cups.
And you do not have skills.
You don't have any skills. You don't have someone employed in that family to support you or even get some cash or have a source of income somewhere. How do you expect these kids to survive?
And
so also the peer pressure also comes in. Exactly. You find a boy, other family is really stable. They have 3 meals a day. These kids have good phones, dress well. And these boys are living together with them in the same community. They play, they listen to this. So it is coming to become a self-reflection. Someone can ask himself, where am I?
Jimmy.
Why, they tend to go still.
Jimmy, how worse will it be now that there is an introduction to socio-economic inclusion, the Shirika plan?
Yeah. First of all, before I answer that, I just want to remind you that we have people who committed suicide in Kalobeye
Yes.
when they were not able to receive their bamba chakula. One of the ladies just went and said, she was told, you have already exhausted your bamba chakula for 4 months and we are not going to add more. So there was no way, because she's a female. Yeah, she just thought of, let me commit suicide, and she passed on, right? But if this one was a man, you know what the man would do? He became crazy because he's strong. He
Yes.
can just go to the
Yeah.
street and rob someone. So I think that is the extent at which we are heading now. Now the Shirika plan. Coming to the Shirika plan, I see one loophole in the Shirika plan. Then there's a gap.
How is it
Yes.
now? It is a socio-economic
Exactly.
inclusion.
Yes.
How is it now going to? How is it going to affect the youth who are jobless?
Exactly. First of all, the questions we need to ask ourselves when the Shirika plan is fully into play are the NGOs, the NGOs that are offering services within the camp and also employing like almost 1,000 and plus youth within the camp.
Yeah.
Will they be around? If
Yes.
they're not going to be around, you know what is going to happen, that many people will lose their jobs.
Yeah.
And the jobs within the county will be kidogo.
Limited. Yeah.
And I know people are looking at, there's a lot of money that is flowing within the camp, which is true. But when you are conducting surveys and researches, yeah, who are you targeting? You are targeting business people. If you spread their wealth to everyone, it will appear like everybody is well off. But you see, it's only about 5 or 7 people who are really like holding the economy of this camp. And also the source of their income, that is the market, the people who are consumers, and the people who are employed with these
Organizations.
NGOs,
Yeah.
organizations.
Yeah.
And again, with the Shirika plan, not everybody wants to do business. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Not everybody is into business.
It's
There are
good in
people who
entrepreneurship,
might
yeah.
not be. So I'm thinking that Shirika plan is a very good plan. Yeah. But we need to ask, those kind of questions like what do we have to create jobs? Because when we talk of socio-economical stuff like that, we are only looking at the business part of it and interaction. But who is there creating jobs for the youth?
Yeah.
And then what kind of jobs, that can be put out there, and do we have the capacity to create these jobs for the many refugee youth eventually when the NGOs start
Pulling themselves out, yeah.
relinquishing their services, leaving their services, because now eventually everybody is expected to rely on themselves, and again, what do we have for the very many families and the youth who have not developed their skills fully, that you cannot employ them?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? What kind of plans are there for them so that they can also keep on surviving? Because if we don't address that, then obviously there is going to be a lot of chaos. There's going to be crime.
Thank you,
generally,
Jimmy.
I would say that there's a lot that people need to talk when it comes to Shirika.
Now, I think let's go to the next question now.
Yeah.
To what extent can mentorship serve Kakuma youth?
I believe mentorship is a very nice way to save these immorality or youth who are engaged in these bad activities. But the question is, are these youth willing to sit and listen to this mentorship? I understand good number of them will be willing to come attend this mentorship. But after mentorship, what will they be doing outside there?
Yeah.
To fill that gap that they have, that force them to go engage themselves in bad act.
Now, Jimmy, you are an educator. You mentor youths. You mentor. You are educating a lot of youth. Do you think mentorship can serve youth, and to what extent, and what kind of mentorship?
Exactly, and you kind of like spoke my mind, yeah. Before, if you want to mentor someone, you need to know what they're passionate about, so that you are Your mentorship is more focused on already what they think they want to do. The question here is, do we really understand, have we mapped out as a community, as a refugee community, have we mapped out the different skill sets that our youth are having? For example, we are coming from within Block 5 and Block 11, Block 12, yeah? Already we kind of know who are the youth who are passionate about education, or who are the youth who are good in business, who are the youth who are, into films and stuff. If mentorship is done to a portion of the youth, it will not still have addressed the issue of crime, criminology and stuff like that. Yeah, I think one of the key strategy we can use to really like support the youth so that the youth can rethink, to turn from what they're doing, is also mentorship. And I would also add rehabilitation for the youth who are really addicted to drugs and stuff. Maybe rehabilitation is now one thing that we also need to think about, because these are not the youth who are completely over dependent on drugs. These are the youth who just take. Their habit needs to be switched a little bit so that they can turn and become productive youth.
The last question I would like to ask is, you have the power to change one thing today in these communities or in Kakuma generally, and it's to stop youth violence in Kakuma. What would be your move? One thing.
I think my opinion will be creating more, vocational training for these youth, and understanding the nature of their struggle, or what is exactly affecting them, will be really a good start for them. Because and rehabilitation centers. Because these rehabilitation centers will have people to guide them, give them mentorship. When they get out of these rehabilitation centers, they will be a change people, and also show them the importance of maybe the education, or channel their thoughts or understanding for them to build the skills in a specific area or career, so that when they get out of this mentorship, they have something to focus on, and whatever they are going to do will generate an income. So this person will really focus most of his time to build the skills, and making sure he's getting good and he's getting income through the skills.
Jimmy, what would be your move?
My move, yes, the first thing I would want to do is for us to map out the families that are most affected within our communities. Because one thing I hear is that when if a boy happens to do something here, the people say this community, that is not generalized. Because we don't speak specifically about the person who has done. So if we map out these families, and then we work with the families, with the families of these boys who are actually very poor. We work with them, we support them, so that both the authorities and the parents of the boys speak the same language towards supporting this child. Even now, like I buy the idea of if we take them for vocational training, if we take them for rehabilitation center, whatever we decide to do with these boys, both the parents know that it's for the good of the boy, and the community will understand that it's for the good of the boy. So getting to know the numbers and working with them is the beginning point. That is what I think.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Austin. And thank you for joining me in this episode of Who is Responsible? And welcome again in the next episode next time. And thank you so much, and see you again next week.